I know Discord, I think you can have up to 20 people in here. I know we've had like six in here on the
Unless
video.
I guess you need Nitro for that, because I think of the max of it had is 6 people at least for
Oh,
just a
okay.
normal Discord call. I guess if you have Nitro, you can add more people or business.
Maybe that's what it is. I have, yeah, we always have Nitro on our Discord. Like somebody in our Discord will, some random person will always just do the Nitro thing for a month or 2 months or whatever. I just put it on there for, I got a free 3 month thing for some achievement I got for on my Xbox. So
Yeah, so actually, if you had also if you have like Game Pass for Xbox, you can get
that's
it
what I
for
have.
free as well. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, that was what it was. Yeah, it wasn't an achievement. It was Game Pass.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, free Nitro for Discord, sure. I think they're trying to push it more and more because the platform is free, and I have no problem paying for Nitro, and the platform is free, and they don't put ads everywhere as well, which is one of the nice things about
Right.
Discord itself.
Yeah, and Discord is really open. Like, you can create all these different channels in your server. You can
Yeah.
create audio channels, video channels. You can set permissions. Like, there's a lot of it's a pretty powerful tool to use. I never knew shit about it when we started our channel, and
Yeah.
I started the Discord. I looked up how to start a Discord, like you know,
Hey,
and
that's the
so I
best way
went
to do
through
it.
and I started it, and then once we started getting a handful of people in there, some of these younger guys were way more tech savvy than me, and they said, "Oh yeah, I run a couple, other Discord channels or whatever, or servers. I wouldn't mind, because I asked for help. I was like, bro, I don't know what the hell I'm doing on here." So the one guy was like, "Yeah, man, I'll do it." He was like 17 at the time, and
Yep.
so he went in here and set up all of our stuff, and then I would ask him like, "Hey, could you do, as issues would come up, could you put a bot in there for like people that do the spam thing or whatever, like not just the bot spam stuff, but like if somebody comes in there and just 'cause sometimes we'll get younger kids in there, I
Oh
think they're
yeah.
maybe like
Yeah.
10 or 11, and
Uh,
they repeat the same word constantly just to get their name noticed. I don't know why, but it just fills up the general
Kids.
chat like
You can't
a
do much about
hundred
it.
things. I'm like, bro, can you fix that? He's like, yep. So he did all this shit. So the way it's set up now, his Discord name was Crash Test. He did all that work for me. It was awesome. I sent him a bunch of swag, and I think I sent him a free pistol, airsoft pistol, and
Oh, nice. Probably really appreciate it because I've
yeah.
done Discord bots. I've made bots and stuff like that. I have a little bit of coding background, so if I've put bots and stuff like that, that takes a lot of work to get things like functioning and moving correctly overall. Like just make sure like one thing's wrong, you're like, oh, the bot's broken. How'd that happen?
Yeah, right. Yeah, fortunately, he set it up really well, and it's been good. Like for the last, he hasn't had to do anything for a long time on it. So
Oh,
he
that's
actually sent me
fantastic,
a
especially when it
message.
works.
He sent me a message like a year and a half ago. Was like, "Hey, I'm getting ready to go to college. I won't have time to run the server." So, there was a couple other guys that were constant, really good in the chat and stuff, and they knew some more than I did about the Discord. So he kind of passed off permissions and stuff to these guys. So I have like 3 moderators now that can go in there and zap somebody if they start fucking around.
Yeah, they know what to
So
do when it comes to
right,
Discord. Yeah, the
yeah,
great thing about Airsoft is like the range of people you can run into with Airsoft is like there's like 13, 14-year olds to like 50, 60-year olds in
yeah,
Airsoft. Like there's no most hobbies kind of have a set age range and gap
right.
when you run into people, but Airsoft is like expansive. Like you find people from both ages. Like my group I usually hang out with, I think the youngest guy is 17, 16
Hmm.
years old, and the oldest guy is like 43. And it works out great. We all mesh really well and we all play really well together. And when we're out there playing like Milsim West or AMS or even line call events, it's just fantastic.
Airsoft is very diverse with age and background because there's nerds, there's tech people, there's cosplay, there's veteran, army, military veterans, there's like athletes from like that played college sports that all like congregate together. They're all get along. Like people that normally wouldn't get along in high school, once they get into airsoft, hey, we're comrades, you know? That's
Yeah,
it.
it definitely works out. It was one of the things like I was right out of the military about 2019, and I was kind of lost. It was kind of a weird feeling getting out after like almost 8 years of service. It was the kind of thing I jumped in when I was like, what am I doing with my life? I'm gonna join the military. My parents like, you? And I'm like, yeah, bye. I left 3 months after I made that decision. Active duty, just like full, both feet in. Never did anything, never did any research. I'm like, I'm gonna do this. I need to do
Yeah.
something for myself. And it was the best decision I could have ever made for myself. It set me up really well for the rest of my life. I
Yeah.
have a really well paying job based on my military experience. And then I kind of found airsoft a little bit near 2019 in Germany. I actually went to Czech Republic and played one of the open games. I'm like, yeah, I like this. I like this a lot. I got
Oh,
home, I
that's
played one
wild.
of my open fields, and I jumped into Milsim West after like 3 or 4 games. And I'm like, yep, I'm doing this. I'm going full bore. I've spent over $25,000 in just airsoft equipment, guns,
Oh
gear
my
with my husband.
God.
Yeah, we've added it up. It got out of hand a little bit, but that's over like 3 years.
That's
It's no big
crazy.
deal. It's no big deal, really.
What? I haven't spent that much in 3 years on airsoft, and I have a YouTube channel, and like, well, then again, I don't play as much as these guys, so I just mostly run the channel stuff. So
It ran into a collection thing. My husband really likes one of a kind guns. He's like, well, we need different platforms because we're, as I learned, I'm like, no, I just need an M4 and an AK, and I realized that having different platforms kind of gives you that different expertise. You can kind of play with a
mm,
different gun. Last month I went to Insurgency. Actually, last weekend I went to Insurgency Milsim West game, and I brought my MP7 with me, and I'm like, okay, this is actually quite fun. I see the difference, kind of thing. A quick little small gun for quick Insurgency, jump in, jump out, hit someone, run away. Like, I wasn't me. I wasn't the one shooting. Do you have any proof? A small little gun, a small little package, you can kind of jump around with what you need to do with it. It did end up failing on me halfway through, which is a bummer, but we ended up getting it fixed.
okay, well that's good. Well, listen, welcome to the podcast. First off, um, and I found your Instagram, and then with however we all find each other on there, right? Online.
Stalking usually is what I do. I stalk the other stalkers
Exactly.
most of the time.
Oh, listen, I was doing a podcast with the guy that owns Full Auto Airsoft, a store up in an airsoft store up in New Jersey, and so as we started the podcast, I said, "Hey, listen, so how did you go from working at Electronics Expo to airsoft?" And he goes, "Well, that's not creepy at all." And I said, "Well, I like to do some research on people I talk with, a little bit. I mean, I want to know, I don't want to sit here like ask you every single question, like I want to know something." So I had seen his LinkedIn, and we were laughing about it, but yeah, and I said later, I guess it would be stalking if I wasn't kind of doing research on who I'm going to talk to.
Yeah,
So,
it's kind of nice to
yeah,
have some background. We're like, all right, and so like, who are you? Why am I
right?
talking to you again? I don't even know who you are.
For real. It's yeah. Anyway, but so I'm well. Speaking of that, I did look up. Well, I saw your YouTube channel when I first found your Instagram. I found your YouTube channel, and then so I watched some videos on there, and saw you played a lot of airsoft for sure.
I have
And
a
then
problem. I have no chill when it comes to airsoft. I plan huge events like Milsim West, AMS, Line
yeah,
Call almost every 2 months if I can get away with it. Usually, I have a really unfortunate job where I can travel and work, and I'm like, um, anyone have any events going on? Can I come? Okay, yeah, I'll be
yeah,
there.
that's cool. That is good. That's cool that you like those. The Milsim West ones, I have not. These guys haven't been to one. I don't have any experience with them, but except for talking with people that have been there, and they sound badass, like full immersion, 40 hour or whatever, continuous kind of, more of the Milsim experience than,
It has a
you know.
different feel. When my first Milsim game, like, I was still on terminal leave, and I'm like, all right, these guys want military. I'm like, great. I'm sure to the military E5. I am a pogue though, but I still kind of had some military background. Like, the joke is that everyone's an infantryman. I'm like, if I'm shooting something seriously wrong at the point in time on the front lines,
Right.
but I still have the tactical training and somewhat basic knowledge of like, hey, you probably shouldn't approach the enemy the same way you just did, you know? So I kind of applied some of that kind of feel to it, and then I just kind of rolled with how I wanted. Milsim West isn't that exactly way. People want the light military simulation, but they don't want the full on military simulation, is what I learned. So you had to find a balance between fun and military sim for Airsoft, at least for Milsim West is what I learned quickly, and I found a good balance for
Right.
it.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, some of the people I've talked to, there's this group that some people really, once they get in airsoft, they love that, the hardcore, like balls to the wall, gung ho, that kind of full uh, real, I guess the real sim kind of, experience. And and then they're like, there's not that many people that like that, because most people go like a 3-day mil sim, and they'll go like, oh, they're going for the camping experience. It's a weekend
Yeah,
getaway, right?
so
It's a
weekend.
weekend getaway with a little bit of airsoft here.
Yeah. So we
Yeah,
can get away with your friends and a bit of airsoft thrown in the middle of it. Nothing's
right.
more exhilarating than 3 a.m. hearing blank fire while you're like all snuggled in your sleeping bag. You're like, wait, what's going
What?
on? Like, don't need to react? Okay. And you hear people screaming around you, and your adrenaline's rushing, your blood rushing. You're like, all right, quick, gotta get my gear on, gotta grab my gun. Like, all right, which way are they coming from? And I think it was one of the last Milsim West events in Washington. Is we are laying out in the field. It's dark. It's like 3:30 a.m. We're waiting for NATO to approach our area, and there's different groups, and out of nowhere we just see light, like lights flash up, and you hear push forward, shoot
Oh
anything that
my
moves,
God.
and it just, I don't know what it is. It's this exhilaration. It's the rush
Oh
that you
yeah.
feel when like you see just lines of light coming towards you, and the rest of, I have a small group of guys, and I'm like, there's 10 guys. I'm like, we need to go. We need to go now. There's no
Yeah.
way we can take on how many NATO guys are coming towards us. And I was playing militia at the time, so we picked up and we were just running for our lives in the dark. It was like I felt like a kid in a candy store. I was just so excited. The exhilaration, I think, is what I'm addicted to when it comes to Milsim West.
Right.
I just love it. But
That's
I
what I
do
heard.
like local games too, though. I like pickup games, and games
Yeah.
are not as intense. But Milsim West it just gets those synapses in the brains firing.
Right. Yeah, you get that adrenaline rush, man. It's like your senses are heightened. It feels great, when you get, that kind of experience.
That's one of the great things about Milsim West, and it's not for everyone at all. I would never say anyone doesn't like Milsim or like doesn't play Milsim light games if they haven't done Milsim West. It's
Yeah.
not for everyone. EMS does great Milsim light games, or even Milsim games. They're not 40 hours, but they're still pretty intense, and they have a lot of objective-based gameplay, as well as you can have a free flow gameplay where you can just kind of go out to area and hold it and still have a lot of fun. So Milsim West is arguably the more harder side for a Milsim game,
Yeah.
definitely. But it's not for everyone, and I wouldn't suggest someone being like, "Oh, I want to play Milsim." Like, well, Milsim West might not be for you, but I definitely should try it if you're interested. But we do have a lot of people drop out within the first few hours of the game. We had people drop Friday, Saturday morning, and there's nothing wrong with that. If they realize it's not for them, it's best to quit then versus make yourself miserable for the whole weekend.
Right. Well, that's one of the things I noticed. I just went to my first mil sim uh, not this past weekend, but the one before, and the 3-day mil sim, and I went there with a press pass. So I don't know if you know the history of our channel. I haven't played airsoft. Um, I started Airsoft podcast, and I haven't played. So,
That's so funny.
so just give you a heads up in case you haven't, in case you haven't seen some of our previous stuff. But so my two of my sons and their best friends started playing airsoft 3 years ago. I was paralyzed with Guillain-Barré syndrome for a couple years, and so I was looking for things to do. I had started like two or three other YouTube channels before we started the airsoft channel. They started getting into this stuff, and I was like, "What are you guys doing?" Because I'm stuck in the house. I'm like, "Bro, I'm going nuts." So when I was able to you know, get down here and work in the office and stuff, I was constantly looking for stuff to do. Plus, I was on steroids, so sleeping 2 hours a day. I was hyper, frustrated, and so anyway, I'm like, "What do you got? Oh, here, let me film it. Let me do this. Let me do that." You know, so so I filmed all their guns and that kind of thing. That's how the channel started. So I'm still not even 50% my strength or whatever. So my legs, whatever. But anyway, so I went to this past milsim and walked very slow. Went and filmed as much as I could and pictures and stuff. But that was my first 3-day event. And what I noticed was that's when I really noticed that most people that go to these, they go there for that, you know, the hangout experience, the, you know, 3-day getaway, or 2-day, whatever. You know, some people actually came in on Saturday morning and left Saturday night. So they played. That was the bulk of the milsim. They had 3 phases. Phase 1 and 2 was the bulk of the day, and then they had a break, and then they had a 4-hour session at night where they had a night game from like 8 until midnight. And then Sunday they played as well. Well, it was people started leaving Saturday night, and I'm like, what are they coming back? And my sons were like, no, because they've been in like 10 milsims. They're like, no, this is like normal. They're, you know, a lot of people will just come for, you know, and the thing was like a lot of people when I came back to our tent to get some, well, actually I went back there to get a beer, but I said I was going back to get a GoPro battery. But so I go
always
back
have
there.
like 5 batteries on me when I'm on the field.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I had places in my plate carrier for batteries, but so I walked back there and all there's like, I don't know, 30, 40 people like in different spots, just kick back, like they got all their gear off, and this is while the phase 2 is going on. So middle of the afternoon. And they're just like kicking back, drinking a beer, smoking a cigar, whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay. So they're just here to just hang with their friends and, you know, the social part and get a little bit of airsoft, you know.
Yeah.
So I guess, you know, when I was looking at the ticket prices, I was like, if you're able to, like physically capable, why wouldn't you want to be out there the whole time? I don't know. But
Yeah.
anyway, so I do see the whole kind of, you know, it was a really fun experience. It was a great time. And, but I did see that the difference with these hardcore group, because I saw some guys that, you know, in the teams or whatever that were just like running and gunning constantly, you know, going back in. And then I saw the other end where the guys were just, you know, they play a little bit and then they go back and kick back in their tent and, you know, whatever. But,
Yeah. I never really
it's
understood
cool.
the ticket price to especially if we travel. Like if we've gone to South Carolina, we've gone to East Coast, West Coast, Arizona. Like for me when
Okay.
I'm there, I'm there to
Did you
play.
come to GTI?
No, I haven't got a
Oh,
GTI. That is my
okay.
next goal. Hopefully, I can get it next year. I've been mainly doing Milsim West, AMS, and I've done some line call games and stuff like that.
Mm,
Is they don't always post their schedules out far enough for me to plan a lot of times,
gotcha.
which kind of sucks. So I kind of have to wait to see when Milsim West is, because that's usually my higher priority of an event I want to go to is just
Okay.
Milsim West. So it overshadows a lot of other events, unfortunately, when it runs down to it's like, yeah, most people. I never understood the people who pay like 100, unless if they're local, I get it. But I think a lot
Right.
of people who travel out there, like Guardian Center, or even I went to Ballahack for
Oh yeah.
their Revelations game, which was fantastic. I loved it. It was a different type of
I want to
airsoft.
go there. Yeah, I want to go to that.
I would definitely suggest it. It's such a fun event. It's a very slower pace event, very LARP. It's one of those things you have to throw yourself into. If you're kind of hesitant, you're like, I don't really know. No, get into it, get the LARPy, make a character, get your costume on and play. I love
Right.
those styles of milsim games as well. Like not really milsim, I guess it's more of a LARP airsoft event.
Sure.
I never understood people coming to games and then paying the price and not actually playing for the full event. Like I am there from start to finish. When the time clicks on, I am on that field unless I have to go off the field to grab whatever I need to get. I am there to get the maximum experience unless something happens, like a gun breaks or I need ammo or water or food or like a quick snack. With
Right.
Milsim West, I usually have all that stuff on me. I'll have like Cliff Bars and like other snacks, so when I'm on the run, I could just grab it and go, kind of
Right.
thing. But yeah, I mean, it's up to everyone who owns their own a ticket and what they want to do with it. But
Sure.
you're paying $150 in a parking lot and drink beers. You could probably do that in a pickup game with your friends, really, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess, well, that's the thing too, is that's what I've noticed is, what we were talking about earlier, where all these different backgrounds of people that, come together for airsoft. Some people are there to really get into it and play all the time. And some people are there to play a little bit, but really just to hang out with the group and show off gear. Like, hey, I
Oh
got all
yeah,
the gear too. I played for two
100% gear
hours.
fashion.
You
So
know, I played for 2 hours out of a 3-day game, but I still got all the gear, and they know about their shit. Like they know how to use it, they know how all that stuff, but they're just not. I mean, they still have fun either way,
yeah,
which is
it's
cool.
90% gear. Like you gotta look, you
It
gotta
really is.
find nice uniforms. I've definitely I own some Cry stuff myself. It's
Yeah.
like Cry. What is it? It's pay once, cry once, or buy once. I forget the
Yeah.
saying of it.
Right.
It's like buy once, cry once kind of thing. And I've
Yep.
definitely, the more expensive gear you go towards, the more quality you're gonna get. But you don't need to buy expensive stuff to even have fun. Like you can go to surplus stores and buy a lot of the stuff. A lot of my
Absolutely.
old military gear became reusable for airsoft and stuff like that, which was fantastic. I'm like, hey, this works out. I can use this stuff. But I definitely replaced it with like some LVX stuff and Cry to Precision, just because being a female is a little bit harder to find gear that actually fits nicer.
That's what
That's
I've
what I
been
run into is
hearing.
like, yeah, it is a difficult time, but luckily my husband can buy his uniform first, and I'll use his to try to figure out my own size. I'm like, all right, I need to go to size down from what you have
Yeah.
to make it fit somewhat kind of better. And in the end, I destroy gear. I'm rough on it. I am sliding, diving, crawling. I don't care if stuff gets muddy or damaged or dirty. I'll clean it off. I'm there to
Right.
use it and there to play with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, a lot of the military. Well, you're a veteran, so those camis they issued. Now, I was in the Marine Corps in '89, from '89 to '93. So the stuff they gave us is probably way different than what you got.
Oh yeah.
In the past few years. But it was really durable.
It
Even
definitely
back
was
then.
durable. Yeah.
Hmm.
Quality hasn't got I think any worse or better, but it is still lowest bidder as always. I love when people are like, it's mil spec, and I'm like, you mean the lowest bidder? Right? Because that's usually what mil spec
Exactly.
is. It's the
Oh,
lowest.
they don't know. They don't know.
They don't know. It's the
Uh,
lowest bidder when it comes to mil spec items a lot of
yeah.
times because the military doesn't want to spend money. But it's still quality gear though. A lot of times I've run into. But I've learned I like the knee pads, the pants, at least with the knee pads in the pants for
Yeah.
sure, because that's
Okay.
fantastic.
Yeah. See, we didn't have any of that stuff. We didn't have when I was in. We didn't have knee pads. We didn't have optics on our guns. We had the M16A2s. We didn't have uh, goggles. We didn't have the ear thing. We didn't have any of nothing. Like we had the old style helmet. We had the A2 and with iron sights and just basic camis. No knee pads. No, we didn't we
None of
didn't
the
do
fancy stuff.
no. In fact, I was talking with one of the guys, Radar. He is part of a team called Moon Goons, and up in New York. And Moon Goon Operation is their Instagram, whatever, and that's their team, and they're a middle sim team. And he was in the Marine Corps, but he went in I think in 2015. So
Okay,
um,
so a few years
and
after I went to the army.
yeah, and a lot longer after I went in for sure. And so he's like, "Well, you know about the mount sights," and I'm like, "What? What is it called?" He's like, "Mount sight," and I'm like, dude, I don't even know what you're saying." Okay. And so he goes, "You didn't train on these mountains?" No, we were still learning jungle warfare from Vietnam when I went in. So we didn't get any
Ugh.
CQB at all. Like there was no, we trained in the woods all the time. But anyway, so there's a huge disconnect with, when I'm talking with people, about uniforms or optics. In fact, my kids, when they got into it, they were like, after their first event, they were like, "Oh, we need comms." Like, okay. So they bought Baofangs, and they're like, "Hey, they brought them to me because I was, I'm editing all this stuff, I'm running the channel, filming all this stuff, editing." Well, they're like, "Do you know how to set these up?" No. Like, I don't even know what I'm looking at, bro. They're like, "Well, you were in the military." Like, bro, that doesn't mean I'm a fucking, like, I don't know. I used a Prick 77. Go look that up. That was like this giant green box, and there was one radio man in our platoon, like,
I love that. Everyone's like, "Hey, do you know about this weapon?" And I'm like, "I was in infantry. I know the guns go bang bang. I can
isn't that
field strip an
wild?
M4. That's usually about it. I can field strip it. I can clean it. I can put it back together and run the drills." They're like, "Oh, you know about this?" I'm like, "No, I don't. I
Oh,
don't know anything about that." Or I get asked
I've
about
met so many
planes
people that
too.
they're like,
I'm like,
"Oh, you were in the
"What?"
Marines? Aren't you? Can't you lift this? Can't you push a car? Can't you just roll this over here?" I'm like, that doesn't make you a fucking superhero. What are you talking about?
It's always
Uh,
funny the reactions you get, and I'm like, "No, I don't know any of that stuff. I'm sorry. I just
right?
don't."
Oh
Like I
yeah,
wasn't part of that area. But I mean,
for real,
I know the basics of what I need to know and what to keep myself safe and kind of gun maintenance and stuff like that
for
for
sure.
things. It's just kind of funny questions people ask. I'm like,
It
no,
is.
I don't know that, but I mean that's cool. Google's there. Google is a fantastic friend. I love Google. Google tells
Oh,
me
for
everything I need
real.
to know.
I'm telling you, I'm talking to him while I'm driving to work. I'm asking about whatever. So I had to look up what a mount site was. So what the.
I've done that a few times on certain things, airsoft
Oh
questions.
yeah.
Someone's like, you know this? I'm like, I don't actually know that. I think that's one thing we as humans need to learn too is like saying I don't know. It's okay to say I don't know. Like it's
I am
100% to
a
say I
hundred
don't
percent
know.
okay with saying I don't know.
Like
That's
let me find out though. Something I
right.
learned in the military is like
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me find out
Yep.
though. There's manuals,
Yep.
there's Google. I can find it somewhere usually.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just
Absolutely.
questions you get from people, and even especially when it comes to airsoft, they're like, "Did you do this in the military?" I'm like, "No, airsoft doesn't translate well to the military. You can't really send in some bullets and start yelling about someone not calling their hits in the military, you
Right.
know? It doesn't work that way. Call your hits. I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's dead if you hit him. You know,
Yeah.
BB's
Yeah.
bullets, kind of the same thing that
Mm-hmm.
you doesn't work the
Yeah.
same
That
way.
there's a couple things, like there's a lot of things you can train on, like with, especially if you go to a mil sim. If somebody's never been in the military, no kind of like tactical training or training with weapons or whatever growing up, they get into airsoft, they start prepping for a mil sim. They have some friends that teach them and help them. They watch some videos, whatever. There's a lot of things that, you know, while they're on that process of learning of what to do at a mil sim, and then they go to a mil sim and they have that experience, they're way more, I guess, knowledgeable, closer to like military training than someone that never did it. But there's a couple things that don't translate, like you're talking about. One is that I've
No.
noticed is the is aiming down the sights. Okay,
Oh, what are sights?
uh,
Huh?
right, in
I have no sights on
airsoft.
any of my airsoft guns. I don't use sights for anything.
Thank you. Oh my God,
I
I
just
was.
I
Oh
just look over the
yeah,
gun, watch the BBs go, and I'm like, okay, I need to go a little higher, or I need to
that's
go a
what
little
you
bit lower
do.
sometimes. It just,
There's some exceptions, obviously. Snipers like Kicking
yeah, it sounds like
Mustang,
there's
or
snipers.
using optics for target acquisition because it zooms in, it's like a
Yeah,
monocular. Okay,
definitely.
oh, there he is. But you're really just following the BB and seeing where it goes and then adjusting. But that, and then there was something else that but really the sights. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing that I noticed is you can't really, like, you can put optics on it or red dot, but it's not really, you
It
can't really
looks
use it
cool.
the way right. You can't use
I
it the way
think
it's supposed to be used.
the first time I had a sight on one of my guns, I played over at Southtown Airsoft in Olympia, Washington. It was one of those nice sights. I bought it from one of the stores. Didn't actually use it. At one point in time, someone pointed out, like, "Hey, Tina, didn't you have a sight on your gun?" And I'm like, "Oh shoot, yeah, I did." Never found it. About 30 to 45 minutes later, he's like, "Hey, where'd your rear sight go?" And I'm like, "Did I just lose two sights in one day and not even notice
Shit.
it?"
Oh, that's funny.
God. I
Well,
I
there
kind
you
of just
go.
I kind of just fell down on the ground and lay there for a second laughing my ass off, and I'm like, I lost two sights in one day, didn't even realize it because
No.
I never used them, so I didn't think about them at the time, and it was one of those nice little clip sights that has a quick release on it, so it probably
Oh yeah.
caught on my gear somewhere along the way and was like,
Right. He gone.
it belongs to the woods now, is what happened. It belongs
Exactly.
to the woods. 100%. After that point in time, I've put one or two other sites on it. It got shot out, and I'm like, that's cool. I didn't
Yeah.
even use it. Didn't realize it got shot out until the end of the day when I looked at it, and I'm like, yep. It's always one of those things when it comes down to it.
Yeah. Definitely. That's what I noticed as well. Well, I have a couple questions for you.
Yeah,
Because I was looking at your I was stalking your YouTube channel.
that's
um,
great. I looked through some of your podcasts and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh, let's see what it's about and stuff like that.
okay. Well, good. We're fair then. Early on in your YouTube channel, you've had a YouTube channel for a long time. You started,
About
posting some stuff
Yeah, I had
early
some
on.
early gaming videos, yeah, but my airsoft, I
Gaming,
didn't start posting airsoft until probably about 2 years ago, like 2000,
right,
like 2020, but that's right when COVID happened, so that was fun.
right. Well, I wanted to know what a megathon was.
Oh,
I had never heard of it. I watched that
Penny
video.
Arcade Expo. So it is a so Penny Arcade Expo back in like 2015, not sorry, 2005, 2004 did like an end of the like event games where they have like Tetris or super like really old school games that they have two players play against it and try to beat the other player out. And so that was kind of what that video was from.
Now, did you go there? Were you there
Yeah,
filming it?
yeah, I was actually there filming that video. I think that's one of my highest rated videos on my channel of just like I think it's a Fallout puppet one, or is it the other one of actually them playing the game? I have to go back and look.
Well,
It's that was so
the
many
one
years
I
ago.
watched, it was the second video on your channel. So I think the first one is like the other one you're talking about, but the
Yeah,
second one is the pup like when you
the
panned
Fallout
around,
puppets.
people
Yeah.
had puppets on their hand. Yeah.
That was one of the Fallout games. I think that was I was God, I don't even know which Fallout that was. I'd have to
Fallout
go back
3,
and look.
maybe.
I think so, yeah. I think it was Fallout
I think
3.
you
They
had
gave away
that
puppets.
listed. Yeah.
They gave out puppets when you showed up to the game. They're super cute. I think I have mine somewhere around my room. Like it's fairly old. It's kind of a cute little puppet they gave to players when you showed up at the event.
Now, how did you get into that event? Did you play in that event?
No, I didn't play in that event.
Oh, okay.
I actually so basically you had to apply to get in. I did apply to get in, but they only choose like I think 30 or 40 people to actually try out, and they had tournaments throughout the whole entire event to the last one where it's just two players. So it
Yeah.
was racing games, shooting games, puzzle games. You had to go through and compete up to the final Omegathon kind of game there. But
Now
I've
that's
been
all.
to
It's all
no,
video games, right? There's no
yeah,
like
it's all
board
video
games.
games.
Okay. Okay.
No,
Okay.
yeah, it was all video games at the time for that event, which was actually really cool to see because they did Halo, they did Gears of War, whoa, Tetris, Super Mario, and a few different games. It's been a while since I've actually remember what games they've played. I don't know
Yeah.
if they still do it for any of the Penny Arcade Expos, but I haven't gone in actually quite a long time.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, because when I was looking at your channel and I saw that, I was like, I'm a gamer, like from when I was a kid. My dad used to take me to an old style, arcade room, and I used to play Space Invaders and that kind of thing,
Mm. Oh, I
and
love that game.
Galaga,
Yeah,
but
my dad had a Pong. I think
yep,
one of the
my dad
old
had one
Pong
as well.
systems back in like 19, I think was it like 98? I'm 1980 baby, so I think it was
Okay.
around that time. And I think the only gaming system I had in my house was a Super Nintendo, and which sucked. My cousins had the Xbox, and I fell in love with Halo. That was probably my no, actually Counter Strike 1.5 was my
Oh
first
yeah,
person shooter
Counter
on
Strike. Yep.
PC. That was my first, and then we switched over Halo, and I've been a Halo fan since the beginning. I love Halo. I have bought all the Halos. I have all the Halos on disc still. Like I have Halo 2, Halo 3 on like CDs, and you popped it in, you
Me
played it.
too.
You don't have to
Yes.
download it anymore. Oh, those were the days when didn't have to wait to download the game just to play it.
Oh, listen. Uh, my son, actually, my oldest son, I got him into Halo when he was like 8 years old. And I was a PC gamer. So coming out of the military, uh, I started building my own computers like right when well, at least when I was aware of them. It was like
Yeah.
95. They were they worked in the computer field. We'd had LAN parties, so they knew how to like
Oh,
install all this stuff or hook
oh,
up
LAN
cables
parties.
to LAN parties.
Uh,
Man, I have fond
uh,
memories of LAN
I
parties.
do too. I
I
do too.
really there's something different. I love the online play, the multiplayer stuff, and chatting with people. You know, when you get online, the way it is now. But I really miss I don't know what it is. I think it's because we're all together. You know, and you can see each other right here.
It's a community thing, really. It's a
It
community
really
thing when it runs
is.
into
It
it.
really
It's
is.
like
We'd have
airsoft,
20 of
though.
us. Yeah, right. It was. And we'd play for so many hours. But yeah, that was, and then I went over to my friend's house and he was like, for a barbecue. I go over there and this was one of my PC gamer friends. So I walk in, he's playing this game on his, just big ass TV that probably weighed 100 pounds back then, you know, these, and,
Oh yeah, I found one of my old computer pictures, big
those
box
CRT,
monitor. Yeah,
yeah.
and I'm like, oh, it was so long ago.
Oh my gosh. So it was vibrant colors, the super fast action gameplay, and I was like, "What is this?" He goes, "Oh, it's Halo." I said, "I've never heard of it." So anyway, that was my introduction to Halo. The next week, I went out and bought an Xbox and started playing Halo. Been a Halo fan ever since,
Oh
and
yeah.
uh, and it was like right after it came out. So my son, who's actually on the channel, Chris, he's a huge Halo fan. He's got a one of these giant, stands that they put in the like a storefront or whatever,
Oh yeah, I've seen
like a
those.
full life size Master Chief or whatever. He's got that in his
It,
room. He's got all kind of little figures still in a box, like from way back when we first started getting all these things.
you're mainly East
Yeah,
Coast.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're in
So
South. We stay in South Carolina,
okay,
and yeah.
I've been there.
So
I've been there for a line call. I think it was a firestorm over at the old mill. I don't know if that's the event you guys had gone to. Is it?
no,
Okay.
yeah, we wanted to, but yeah, that was
It's a fantastic. It is so much fun that the warehouse they actually were able to use for the event is like it's great. How often are you gonna be able to play in an abandoned mall? I'm sure we've all walked through the malls lately last year like, I wonder when I can play airsoft here because everything's going out of business or everything's closing up.
right.
Just mall real estate is expensive, and I'm like, yeah, let's play airsoft in this mall, guys.
For
I mean,
real.
what else are you gonna use it for? Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, the malls are going out. All these events in these different, old rundown hospitals or schools or factories. I'm like, that would
Prisons as
be,
well.
yeah, prisons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to the guys at the Task Force podcast, and they said, yeah, one of our friends or somebody we know sent us a care package from the event they were at this prison, whatever game it was. It was some kind of prison, and I said, "Would they send you a shank?" And they're like, "No." I said, "Okay."
I'd be kind of worried if I got that in the mail for sure. It's like that's cool, guys. You can keep your shanks.
Yeah, don't touch that without rubber gloves.
Yeah, maybe two things. If you found that in the prison, you probably should have left it there. You don't know what's on that
I
or
know.
what it's made of.
Oh, Jesus. What got you into airsoft in the first place? You went in the army right
Yeah,
after
so
what? Right after high
oh,
school?
no, actually, I went in the army when I was 25, so way later
Yeah.
in my life. I
Oh,
jumped in the
okay.
army. Didn't know anything about airsoft at the time. I was playing Milsim games online, so I was playing Arma, and one of the users like, "Hey,
Oh,
I've done
yeah.
airsoft." I'm like, "What is that?" I'm like, "All right, cool." So natural, type it in YouTube. I found like Jet Desert Fox and Unicorn Leah and stuff, and Silo and Novish, and I'm like, "Okay, this looks like fun." All right, and that was right when I was getting out of the military at the point in time. It was like the down days started outweighing the up days, and I'm like, "Yeah, no, it's time to go. Let's go back home." And I
Mm.
bought my first gun from Evike, and then I jumped and it was just kind of it was downhill from there in spending money. So it just I played one game, which is funny. My first game I played, I met someone online from Facebook that was local. I'm like, hey, I'm going to this game. I'd like to know someone when I show up versus sometimes because it's like it's a very really male dominated sport. So it's nice to have one person
Right.
I could kind of talk to, right? Get on the field, he runs off, 100% abandons me, and I'm like,
Oh shit.
this is my first game, first total game. Don't know where I'm going. Don't know much of anything at the point in time, which was actually kind of funny though, because that actually worked out because him abandoning me led me to a group of friends who I still talk to this day, and I still go to Milsim West with as well.
There you go.
And actually ended up leading me to my husband, who I met through playing Airsoft.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so that guy abandoned me the first game. All worked out. But now when
Yeah.
I bring people to Airsoft for the first game, I don't abandon them. I bring them with me into the heat, and I push them forward, using them as bullet shields.
You should. Well, that's good too. But I was gonna say you should, based on your story, you should abandon them so that they find their mate or their good friends in the same way.
Yeah, but not
Uh,
everyone has, I guess,
uh,
the same tolerance as I do of like being abandoned. I'm like, all right, cool, because most people just quit. They're like, I don't know what
yeah.
to do. I get
Right.
frustrated. Like my goggles were fogging, and I'm like, this is miserable. Like, and I'm like, one of the guys like, hey, do you know the field? I'm like, I don't know the field. He's like, all right, come with me. If your goggles fog, do this. He gave me some tips and like showed me how to do this. And I ended up going to
Yeah.
Wilson West with them for the first time, which was a great experience. Heading out with a group of people who are like, hey, this is what we need to do. And that's one of the great things about Airsoft is I run into the community of people who most of them will look out for other, especially younger kids on the field, or just
Right.
people who are inexperienced. Like, hey, this is what we're doing. Come with us. They'll drag them in and bring them with them so they have a funner time. And
Right.
especially when it comes to my local fields, some of my fields allow 12 to 10-year-olds, and we have two 6-year-old and 7-year-old girls who come out and play on my local field. Like they're yay high. They're the perfect height for like small assassins. I love it because they will follow me everywhere. They're like, where are you going, Soda? I'm like, I'm
Oh,
going up
that's
here.
cool.
Like, okay, we're coming to it. And I'm like, are you sure? I'm gonna go. They're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's actually really useful because a lot of times I can tuck them behind me. I'm like, all right, ready? You ready to pop out? They're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because no one's gonna shoot that low usually because they're so
No.
short. And so I'll push them up there and I'll get them some kills, and I'll usually, if I get hit, I'm like, all right, I'm hit. They're like, okay, I'm running away then.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
I love bringing new people in and people who haven't played. I like to bring them through and have them make sure they have a fun time, because if you chase away the new people first, so it's gonna die if we chase away new people for stupid questions. We have all those
Yeah.
questions. I think the Milsim West Facebook group is a good example. If you don't read the tax op and the question you answered is in the tax op, we will let you know. We will let you know, quick and fast.
Oh, that's funny.
Because
Yeah, those
reading's a
uh
fundamental
those
skill.
those little kids that come out there, man, they're the parents bring those little kids out there. I always wondered how do they find, like masks or, iPro and stuff for them, because I've talked to a lot of ladies that they're smaller and they can't wear a lot of the helmets and the face pro and all that.
So I've run into the issue of I've had to customize a few different things, like especially my helmet. I've had to get my helmet, the padding so they're customized as well to fit my face. Luckily with goggles and at least the lower face the mash, I'm
Yeah.
able to fix it and kind of get to where I need to do. I sew as well, so I've been a little
Oh,
tactical
nice.
in that background where I can kind of mix and match things to kind of fit my face a little bit better for my usage as well, which is a good
Yeah.
background.
Okay.
Kids usually solid dye masks are probably the best way to go about
Yeah.
for younger kids, because the goggles and mesh don't always fit on their face because yes, skin they are tiny.
Right. Yeah, I didn't know they made those masks that small.
Yeah, it really depends on where you buy, and there's so many different buyers you can get from, and not everyone has the resources to buy many things multiple times, and that's kind of why my price tag's so high. Is I've bought stuff and I'm like, this is trash. Why did
Oh,
I buy
yeah.
this? And I bought another item. I'm like, okay, this is better. And then I bought another one. I'm like, okay, this is much better. And it takes the time to buy up to the gear that you like. I think the
Yeah.
most recent purchase I made was Amp's Ops Core headset.
Oh,
So like contacts. That sent me back about $800.
wow.
But I looked at it as a purchase where I can use it for shooting real steel and stuff like that. So guns, like I like shooting live ammunition and stuff like that. So they're great
Yeah.
headset, sound canceling. They're like heaven on my ears, really.
I bought
So
some for this mill sim. I didn't end up using them because I couldn't make it into the building. but I planned on it. You know what I mean? Like I had them, but I bought, dude, these were like, I think they were 38 bucks. Okay.
You find some decent pair of, as long as they're noise canceling, that's
Yeah.
all you really need.
I'm trying to remember what the brand was, but they worked. I mean, they worked fine in the house when I'm clapping. Okay. I didn't try them on the field. I didn't try them, when we go to the range or whatever. I had just got them in like 3 days before we went to the mill sim. I was like, wow, these things work awesome. I put them on. This is my first experience with them. And my son has some. We shoot real steel all the time, and I never use Ear Pro when we shoot real steel. So my sons do. So they have those kind that like what you're talking about, that are the expensive ones, and whatever. But I never tried them out. They're like, "You want to try it?" I'm like, "No." So I put these on. I put the battery in, and I put them on, and I start turning this thing on, and I think at the I was standing in this other room across the hall. I had the door open. The dryer was going. We had clothes in the dryer, so I'm turning this thing up, whatever, and I'm like, I think something's wrong with these. Like
Oh
there's some
no.
kind of noise going on, and as I'm talking out loud to myself, and I hear myself through the thing, and I'm like, I mean, I could hear every little detail of sound everywhere. And I said, what? Oh, it's amplified. Okay. So then I
Yeah.
clap really loud, and it just deafens. I was like, okay, these are awesome. These are
Yeah,
cool.
that's one
That
of the
was
nice
my
things
first
about it.
experience with them. Yeah.
Yeah. I got them recently, and I was playing, I think I used them all day at AMS and a D14 in Texas. And so when I took them off, I'm like, oh, everyone's really quiet right now. This is strange. Because I'm so used to being able to hear
Yeah.
someone's voice. Because being able to communicate is so important when it comes to Airsoft. Like, hey, there's a guy over there next to that tree. Yeah, which tree? Thanks, guy. There's like 20 trees out here. I think that's
Right?
my favorite call out in the forest. He's on that tree. Okay, and which
Yeah.
tree?
Yeah.
We're in the woods.
Oh,
That's great. That's a great call out there.
right.
And so it was able to amplify the voice without him having to raise his voice or yell, especially because I do Muslim West is blank fire, so having something that cuts off the blank fire is really important, especially when you're close to it. Because I think it was the last California game, I ran up on someone and I was shooting with him, and I didn't realize he had a blank fire gun because it was dark, and I just go, oh, okay, I really wish I had my headset on for that one because it surprised me more than anything because it was really close to his gun, and they were
Now,
very
what do you mean?
loud.
Who's blank firing?
On Muslim West, you can have blank fire guns for immersion.
Oh,
Yeah, so so Milsim West allows blank fire guns. You have to go through a whole rigmarole of safety. They have to check all your
yeah.
mags, check all your ammunition and stuff like that.
Well,
And so they
sure.
have either they have blank fire guns or they have blank fire adapters on their guns
So
for
these
the
aren't,
event.
they're not actual player. They can't shoot airsoft BBs, right?
No, yeah, no. That'd be kind of neat if they
Okay,
could
okay,
for that
okay.
sound. No, they're more just atmospheric noise.
Right, right. Oh,
And so
that's what I was
blank
gonna
fire.
say. I've seen that. Okay.
Yeah, and what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to react to it. So if someone's blank firing you, don't just continue walking down a field at them. It's
Right.
react, move, kind of like, oh
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
I'm getting shot at
yeah.
by
Like,
blank
oh, there's
fire
cover
kind of
fire.
thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of the reaction to it. It's yet again in the middle of the night, 3 a.m. when you're sleeping in your sleeping bag, you're just
Sure.
like nice and warm and fuzzy, and someone's blank fire guns right up to your fob. You're like, okay, I'm awake now. Hello.
Right. Well, when one of the events these guys went to, when I was stuck in the house, I was editing. They brought all their GoPro stuff back and everything, and they had at one of the games. I think it was a Stonebreaker one of the ones that I just went to, but a couple years ago. And they had a Humvee there with a 50 cal that was shooting blanks. Sounded real, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm watching this video, and because I'm about to edit it, and I see this, and I'm like, and I have my headset on, while I'm editing, I'm like, this is I haven't heard that since I was in the military. That was my favorite gun to shoot. That and the Mark 19. Uh, when we were in, training and whatever, the Deuce was it. The 50 cal was the shit. And when I heard that sound, I was like, what? They have a gun here? He's like, yeah, they shoot blanks and stuff, to make it more realistic. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah,
Oh
just
yeah,
the feeling of it, just you're like, yes. I love everything about this right now.
Oh, it's so
I
cool.
think last Milsim was Insurgency game. I think their company is called Milsim Technologies. He's bringing more blank fire guns. I think he bought a
Oh, wow.
PKM. He bought a PKM. I don't know exactly the mechanism for it, but it was pretty
Yeah.
much blank firing a PKM of
Oh
like
my
the sound and
God.
stuff like that. It was fantastic. You're like, ah, yes. I kind of
That is
like.
cool.
It has a little bit of fire. I mean, BBs are great and all, but the sound of like actual blank fire is just kind of more exciting.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, it's
Like,
and it was a full different experience for me going to this one, my first time, hearing all that kind of in the background. I was standing, I couldn't go up on the night games, couldn't go up too close, but I could hear all that stuff going on, all the grenades and the blank firing stuff and the helicopter on Friday night. The chopper, they still had the chopper going around.
oh,
The
that's
guy
cool.
was wearing, it was full blackout. So the chopper didn't have a light or nothing.
Oh
And
wow, okay.
I guess he was wearing NVGs while he's flying, from what I heard, because
I'd
if
hope
anyone
so.
turned, yeah, I know. Well, it was anyone that flashed a light or turned their lights on their, to raise them up, the admins would yell, turn your lights off. If somebody turned their headlights on in the parking, in the camp area, they had admins walking around there on Friday night to make sure no one, blinded the the helicopter pilot. But you got the chopper going on, you got all
Yeah.
these grenades, you got the blank firing 50 cal, you got they had another machine gun that was blank firing as well. It was really cool to be there.
Atmosphere of like especially some of these games I definitely need to get out a few different companies that I've been looking to try to get out at least hopefully this year. We'll see how it kind of goes over with the things. I'm trying to take a small little break here in the summertime and then hit back up in the more the winter time, especially some of the either the southern states is like
Right.
I don't like Virginia. I did Fort Jackson and Fort Lee, so I know that sweat, that humidity, and I'm like, I'm not interested in doing that again for
Oh
Milsim West
yeah.
or any Milsim Airsoft events. No, thank you. I'm good. I'll
Now,
pass.
did you grew up in the area you're in, like Washington State, right?
Yeah, I'm in Washington State. I was born and raised here. I
Okay.
only left probably about 2013 is when I went to the military. So it was in
Yeah.
Virginia, Texas, South Carolina, Germany. Germany was the best by
Really?
far. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, and that, I mean, Germany's kind of cold, right? It's not like, I mean, it's
definitely
not
cold.
cold, but
Snow.
it's not like South Carolina hot.
No, no, no. It definitely got warm considering, well, compared to the cold winters they have. So they're more Washington climate, but with more snow, surprisingly.
Gotcha.
Not as rainy either, though, which is nice.
Yeah. Well, Seattle is known for just constant rain, right?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. We do get a nice summer. It's nice. We really appreciate the sun when it comes out. We're like, oh, that's nice. Okay, this is great. Makes us appreciate the warmer things.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, when you're not used to the heat and the humidity, like
Yeah,
more months out
you
of the year, you go to that, it's pretty brutal.
definitely have to prepare for it. I'll start drinking water many days before, but I know the heat, so I know what to do to get myself ready for that kind of heat. It's not fun to play in. I think Valahak for Revelations we went during the summertime and was like a few minutes out of the car and I'm like, this is gonna be a nice hot day. You can feel your shirt. Like when I got back to the hotel, I could just take my shirt off and it's just soaked and you just
It's
slap it on the
just
ground. You're like,
it's hard
so
to
gross.
take your clothes off. It's all sticking everywhere.
It's just drenched. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
I didn't really play airsoft. We just walked around in the humidity and the heat. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah. So running full milsim in one of those games in that heat, oh God, I'm not interested. I'm 100% not interested unless I have to, and then I will if I don't have any options.
Well, listen, we've been talking for a little bit, but it's really great to meet you. But I do have another question for you.
Okay.
Uh, you're talking about you're a Halo fan.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Have you started watching the new Halo series?
I haven't yet. I'm waiting for all of it to come out and then binge watch all of it in one sitting.
Listen, I wish I would have done that because a friend of mine texted me. I didn't even know it was coming out. A friend of mine texted me and said, and he's, him and I used to work at GameStop together. So,
Okay.
big gamer or whatever. And we've been friends for 15 years. He texted me the night that the first episode was coming out, like an hour before it came out. I had no clue, which
Surprise.
that's bad on Paramount's part because I'm on Instagram all the time. I'm on YouTube all the time, and I didn't see one ad. Like,
I think
how
I
did that?
only
And I'm a gamer. Like, I look at gaming things.
I only
How did
knew
that
about
not?
it because of the Halo Reddit forum. That's the only reason why I figured
Yeah,
out.
that's
Someone
what I'm
posted on
saying.
that,
Like,
there was no advertisement, there's no push, there's no ads. I noticed.
it's so weird.
I did see it on Amazon Prime when I went on the other time, so I've
Yeah,
seen it there, but nowhere else. Like not any area where they could find it or actually reach me ad wise. I don't think
right.
they advertised it really well.
I don't think so either. I don't know if that was on purpose or whatever, but he texted me and I was like, "What?" So I went and we watched the first. So we just watched the third episode a couple nights ago. But anyway, uh, as a Halo fan for many, many years when it first came out, I'm impressed, honestly.
I've heard
But
a lot of mixed reviews on it.
yeah, I'm a positive kind of person anyway. I've always have been. So, uh, I'm not real critical of movies or shows. I mean, I can pick them apart. Like, hey, this should have been done better. But as far as the whole experience goes, I kind of understand, like, yeah, I can understand this, why they did this way or whatever. But, yeah, anyway. So, yeah, I should have, I thought they had all episodes. I'm not kidding. When he texted
Yeah,
me, I said, oh, okay. I went and got on the app and I started watching it. I'm like, waiting for the next, the credits come on. I'm waiting for the next thing, like Netflix. Nope.
disappointment.
What? And I'm searching, like, okay, I did something wrong. Nope. I thought, well, Paramount, their app is screwed up because they don't know how to do it like Netflix. I wish all those would just do it like Netflix, okay?
Right? Just let
Uh,
me continue watching, binge watching. I'm here to
bro,
watch all of it. Just
you
give me all
know,
of it at once.
can you please just set up your shit like Netflix? I understand they're competitors, but can't there be some like basics that you just put in there that are the same so we can all
Right?
just
Across the
uh
platform. I want to binge watch this, yeah. So I figured
yes.
it's cheaper for me to wait as well. That's what I'm doing with the Mandalorian season. I think season 3 is coming out here
I
shortly.
haven't started it yet, yeah.
Mandalorian's fantastic,
Yeah.
definitely. So I'm waiting for Mandalorian to come out and then watch the Boba Fett series. So
I did
kind
the
of
first one. I did the first series or season, but I haven't watched the other ones yet.
it's good. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm waiting
I
for
did too.
all of it to come out so I just can sit down and just binge watch it on a weekend, just get some popcorn and just watch all of Halo. I'm pretty excited
Absolutely.
about how the direction they took it. Honestly, I like the idea of a new storyline because I mean, I've read some Halo books, I've watched all of the campaigns, I've played all the campaigns, there's so much Halo stuff you can take in. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of glad they've done some new material for this. Is what I've seen in whispers I've heard from Halo at least.
Yep. Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
That's good. So I mean, hey, I'm pretty positive when it comes to things as well. Like when I'm looking, I'm like, all right, I don't really listen to critics because not all the critics are
No.
thinking the same way I am.
No.
I'm like, if I'm here to enjoy something, I'm like, I'm gonna enjoy it whether you don't or not. Like, if I like it,
Right.
I like it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but Halo fans are going to be, well, any video game, that comes out on a movie or a show, whatever, you're going to have those critics that are like, well, they didn't do it just like the game or whatever. Like, yeah, but
Always, or
did
just
you
like the
read the
book.
books? Like, because that's kind of where, because there's a lot of backstory that they're doing
Yeah.
now that it hasn't even got to the point of where the first Halo starts yet. Like, it's not even, so if you don't know that backstory, then you're kind of like, what are they doing? you know?
Sit down and enjoy the ride. Just sit down and enjoy the ride. See where it's gonna go. See where it's gonna take you. It's like
It's visceral, man. It is visceral. I love the way they did it, but I'm enjoying it. So anyway, yeah. I haven't looked at any reviews on it because I know that people are just gonna shit, all over it. But because most of the time people scream about, the most of what you hear is the negative, and most time people that are enjoying it aren't going to get on there and go, "Oh my God, this is so great!" Like,
You hear all of the naysayers more than
right?
anything.
Yeah,
100%,
yeah,
100%. Like, people who hate something the loudest will scream the loudest. Everyone's like, "Hey, I like this," you know? They're not gonna go post somewhere like, "Oh yeah, I love
yeah.
this." I mean, a few people will though. Most
Right,
people, you see the negative more often than you
right.
see the positive on things. And
That's
mentioning that,
humans.
it's why it's what I do about my airsoft channel. I don't post cheater videos or like rage videos as much as possible.
Thank you. Yes.
I posted one short video. Oh, here we go. I posted one short video of a rental. I'm like, don't rage the rentals. This guy, like, he can clearly see I'm shooting his shoe. Like, he knows it.
Right.
Me getting mad or posting about it online, other than just, hey, don't rage at the rentals, is not what content I want to see. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I started my channel. Is like, this is the content I want to see. I want to see the positivity of side of airsoft and stuff like that. So unfortunately, I was building my own computer. I was building my father a computer recently, and I had my hard drive, and it got reformatted. So I've lost all of my footage, all of my raw footage from the past like 2.5 years. Everything's
Oh,
gone. Everything. I went home. I went to Office Depot to see if they were covered. They're like, no. All right. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me send it into. I sent it into a data recovery company. Like, there's nothing here, and I'm like, you guys like coded me. It cost like $1,000 to get my stuff back, and you can't find anything. And I'm
oh
just
my
like,
God.
oh, and the thing is, that was my backup hard drive of
Yeah.
all it. So all of my footage from the beginning is gone. So I have
Oh
no raw
shit.
footage. What sucked is I had all my content from Guardian Center already edited, already put together, had all my scope cans synced up and stuff like that. Same thing with my Jet Desert Fox stuff.
Yeah.
It's all gone.
Oh,
It
I
is
feel for you.
all gone. And I was just like, I don't think I'm not really looking for an airsoft career in my YouTube and stuff like that. It's more of just
Right.
kind of a fun thing I do for myself and stuff like that. But it still hurts. It still hurts a
For
little bit and
sure.
stuff like that because our local arena, the Thunderdome, got closed because of COVID. 100%, it's closed, never coming back and stuff like
Oh
that. The business
shit.
is already
Okay.
rented out to someone and stuff. So
Right.
all of that backup footage of just me and my friends messing around with stuff I hadn't posted is gone. But my lead on to that was I probably had more than maybe an hour, 2 hours of just people raging at events, like Milson West events, Lion Claw events,
Yeah.
AMS events. People just like, you did. I'm like, I have no desire to post this stuff. I have no desire to entertain the idea of posting it. Like, it gets the views, it gets the clicks. It definitely does easily.
Yeah.
People are attracted to that negative side. They
Sure.
love watching train wrecks. And I told myself from the start, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna post it. I'm just not gonna adhere to that culture, and that's fine. If people don't like my channel because of it, hey, there's about 500 other YouTube channels you can run to that have airsoft content that are
Oh, for sure.
exactly the same as mine.
Yeah. Well, everyone I've
And
talked to, every single person I've talked to on here, done a podcast with, if they have a YouTube channel, exactly the same thing that you just said has come out of their mouths. That's what they want to promote. They don't want to promote they don't like seeing that. They don't like the fact that those negative, videos get more views and get whatever, gets pushed more and all that kind of stuff. But it's, you know, I have not talked to one person on here yet that has had a YouTube channel that promote or, put, like, guess, puts that on their channel. I need to talk to somebody that has a channel that puts that negative shit on there and see what their motivation is besides just getting more views and trying to make money off YouTube. Because they started out as airsoft players and they are
yeah,
airsoft players. Do they realize that they're hurting the sport? Like, I don't know.
I don't think they really care. I think
They
there's
don't
good
care.
there's proper ways to do it. There's proper ways to showcase this behavior and be like, hey, I get two different reactions from people. So why is this person reacting so negatively to what happened
Right.
here, versus
Right.
what some people haven't reacted as negatively? It's it's a hard balance finding people who criticize it properly versus people like, oh look, airsoft fight. Look at this kid. I full auto in the back because he didn't call that one hit. It was like, dude, calm down. Take a step away. If you're getting that mad about someone not calling a hit at an airsoft BB game, like I've I've come to a point in time where I no longer care. I really don't. If someone doesn't
No.
call her hit, it's whatever.
Whatever.
I've moved on because there's plenty of times that I haven't called my own hits when it's hit my gear, it's hit something I haven't heard. I started recording my footage on my GoPro. People hit my GoPro more times than I care to actually know. Didn't call my hit. I continue playing like nothing happened because I didn't hear it. And of course, I didn't
Right.
feel it because it was my GoPro. And I had no one around me to let me know, hey, Soda, your GoPro is hit. And I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me know. I'm gonna move away. Another example is my dump pouch was getting hit. I was kind of leaning up against a pole and my dump pouch was out a little bit, getting hit. Had no idea. My husband's like, hey, Tina, your dump pouch is getting hit. I'm like, it is? Oh shit. And I fall over and die.
Right.
And I think that's the best way it goes about calling someone else's hits. If you know them, they're like, hey, by the way, it got
Right.
hit.
Right.
And that's why I've said the point is like I can't be upset about someone else not calling their hit if there's hits I haven't called myself, which I wasn't aware of.
Right.
You know,
That
there's plenty of
that's
there's
that's kind
plenty
of
of
rare
time.
though. Yeah, I mean that's not the majority of what we're talking about for sure.
Yeah,
With those, the people that don't call their hits, there are some. I've seen those videos where, like these guys were showing me a couple years ago. Look, these guys don't call their hits. It was an indoor CQB field. The guy, the video we were watching, I don't even remember whose channel it was. Uh, he was pretty far away, so he's shooting diagonally. He's on one corner of the indoor field. The other guy that he was shooting at, and the guy's back was sticking out. He had a pack, like not really a full backpack, but like
yeah,
a small whatever, uh, some kind of carrier thing on his back, and that was getting hit. So the guy didn't even move. Like he didn't flinch. He didn't look like I'm getting shot. He just his back was sticking out. He was still staying in the same position, and he was like doing this in another direction, not even at the same guy that was shooting. And the guy that was shooting and filming was saying, "Look, I'm shooting him, and he's not." I'm like, "Bro, you're hitting his gear. Like, how do you know he's not like he's probably not feeling it?"
yeah. And that's the issue with wearing gear is I try to minimize my amount of gear I'm wearing, but still have stuff that works for me because
Hmm.
it happens so often. But you have there's been times I'm like it's pretty up close. You're like I know that I can see that by seeing this guy. I'm like, you know what? Yelling at him is not worth my time. Like, I take it in. I'm like, you know what? I don't really care. I don't gain anything from winning airsoft games. And that was
Yeah.
another thing. One of my friends' kids watch my channel a lot. He's like, why does Soda never post who wins the game? Why does she never say who wins the side? And I'm like, does it really matter in the end of the day who wins? I gain nothing from winning. I gain. It doesn't really matter which side wins. I guess for
Right.
me, when it comes to certain games, like as long as I had fun, and if it's a competitive like Milsim game, like I'll definitely go. I go for objectives. I go for objectives base. I don't go for the
Right.
kills or be like, I got 100 kills. I'm like, alright, it's cool. We still lost though because you didn't do any of the objectives when
Duh.
you're right next to the flag and you didn't change it. You know,
Yeah.
like you ran past the objective. Great job though on your kill count, but the game was 8 flag domination or barrels or so forth and so on kind of thing.
Right.
And so I'll go for objectives, but if my team doesn't win, oh well.
Those are the same people. Listen, those are the same people that play Call of Duty back in the day. Black Ops 1 or 2, playing domination, and they're off on the sides trying to get all these kills and not taking points. Okay, and we're like, bro, can you get in the circle, please? Because we're trying to capture this thing. You know, like we're
Yeah,
losing. Well, yeah, but I got 100 kills. Oh Lord.
that's cool. But that wasn't the point of the game, though. It wasn't team deathmatch. It was
Oh,
domination.
yes. Mm,
Yeah, and so that's where it comes to my end of the game. Is I will not ignore objectives for kills.
yeah.
I'll go for the objectives and I'll hold objectives and stuff like that. And then sometimes stuff happens to me naturally. Naturally, like I'll see where I can move up. Like I'll see where I can push forward. But my issue a lot of times I go really far forward and I get shot in the back by my own teammates. Oh,
Oh, shit.
so many times. And I'm just like,
Oh,
it
Lord.
happens. And the great thing is, it's always like some young kids, always some rental that comes out. It's the first person they probably have seen. They haven't seen anyone else because they're so far
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
And the first person they've seen has
They're
happened to be
excited.
me. They're like, oh, there's a person I can shoot.
Yep.
Ignore the little band on my arm or on my back of my vest that says I'm
Yeah.
on your team, you know. Good job. Good job, dude.
Oh, yeah.
And those I'm just like, oh well, it happens. It happens. You kind of just shake your head and laugh. You're like, I'll get back up there. I'll get back up there again later at another point in
For
time in the game.
sure. Well, it's been really nice to meet you.
You as well. I'm glad. Hopefully, I can make it out to one of the Milsim West games with you guys. Not even Milsim West, just some Milsim Light game with you
Yeah,
guys in the country.
for sure. We're in the like northeast part of South Carolina, Greenville. So I know some of those events are kind of south of where we're at, like towards
I think
Columbia.
I think the one Lion Claw game I'm thinking about, it's like Firestorm. It's in the warehouse. I'll send you a link to it once we get off the call and let you
Yeah,
know. Like I've been to it before. It's a fantastic warehouse. Did a great job. Like you didn't really need. It was like a narco versus I think it was like multi-camera cop game. It was actually well done.
yeah, that's cool. Well, where can people find you on? You have a YouTube channel. You got your
So the
Instagram.
YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. So I'm all over the social media influencer. Ugh, I hate that
You're an
word.
influencer. Oh yeah.
I hate that word with a passion.
Do you really? Oh my God, that's funny because I did this podcast with John from Full
So
Auto Airsoft,
negative
and
though.
I met him through Little Miss Airsoft. Okay, so
I follow her
he
on
tells me,
Instagram.
you know her. Okay,
Yeah.
so he tells me during the podcast, he called her or said something and whatever it came up where because I asked him how did you meet Jess because he works with her or she works with him at his store and he says, yeah, she's like, you know, well, she hates being called this, but she's like my Instagram influencer or whatever. And so I sent her right after him and I got done. I sent her a text and said, "Oh, thanks for meeting or setting up this meeting with John so I could talk to him. You are a great Instagram influencer." She goes, "I hate you right now."
I think
Oh,
it's
it was
it's
great.
tagged it's tagged with a lot of negativity when it comes to influencers and stuff
Yeah,
like that. And is when you get further up, you realize you do actually have influence when it comes to people. Like I have a lot of people message me on like Facebook or Instagram, like, "Hey, what field do you recommend?" or "What gun do you recommend?" or like, "Hey, which field are you going to?" or "Which events are you going to? Can I meet up and like hang out?" And I'm like, this is oh okay. You just want to hang out and you just kind of want to meet up with me and stuff like that. It's like I don't really have a big following. I think my YouTube's at like 650 subscribers. My
it's
Instagram's
growing though.
probably
Yeah,
it's growing, but it takes a lot of work. I don't think everyone realizes how much work like
yeah,
social media and
I
like
know.
producing content takes. Like
Yeah.
you can't just throw something up there and be like, this is good. Especially
Mm-mm.
with airsoft content videos, because
Yeah, it's a
one of my
really small niche,
small niche and a lot of it is the same stuff, and that was why I stopped
right?
posting a lot of my like pickup game videos. I'm like,
Gotcha.
who's actually watching these and enjoying it? It's the same exact content over and over again for my channel. It's just me shooting people.
Yeah,
How many more videos can you actually watch of me doing the exact same thing to different people within my stuff and like that? So I switched to more like big event videos and stuff like that, like Milsim West and Lion
yeah,
Call and AMS videos, because there's a little bit more content there. Because I have objectives and stuff like that. But posting YouTube content for Airsoft is hard.
it is. Yeah, that's what I always tell people. Like when I'm talking with them on here, uh, you can start an Instagram and get 1,000 followers in like a month. Now go start a YouTube channel. See what happens.
Yeah, it's like
It's a grind.
posting pictures is easy, but YouTube is a huge grind, and that's my main foremost thing I tell myself is I airsoft first and I YouTube second. I'm
Yeah,
there to have fun. I'm not there to make content. If I make content, that's great. I'll do content videos like here soon. I'm asking one of my friends because he has a 3D printer, so he's gonna print me like one of the 3D guns. He plans on selling it at Summer Slaughter, our local event in Oregon, put on by
mm,
SpecTech. I'm
yeah,
like, hey, give me one of the guns. I'd love to promote it and show off the content and show that, hey, you can actually run an airsoft gun as a 3D printed gun kind of thing, you
yeah,
know? So I'll do stuff like that. And yet again, it's pushing other forward my friends' businesses and stuff like that, which is cool for the other side of the being a social media influencer kind of thing.
yeah.
But I never ask for free stuff from companies or message G&G or I love G&G by the way. I'm a G&G girl fan for guns,
Okay,
hands down. LBX as well. I love LBX gear. I don't ever
nice.
message them and be like, "Hey, can you guys give me free stuff? Can you sponsor me and stuff like that?"
No,
And I'm like, "No." I do actually have a partnership with Blue Bag Airsoft though, with their BBs, which are fantastic, by the way.
I love those guys.
And
Yeah.
and they're a veteran-owned company as well. So it was one of those
Yeah.
great things. I loved partnering with a veteran-owned company and helping their
Uh,
product get out there and stuff.
I just posted the podcast with Austin um,
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like,
last
hey,
week.
that's great.
Yeah. 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 Cool guy. We just ordered t-shirts, the new season 1 that they came out with, and they look badass. So I haven't gotten them in yet, but
Yeah.
yeah, when I get them in, I'll be wearing those on these podcasts. They're cool.
I have my sponsor patch. I put on my gear and run it out there and make sure people know, hey, Blue Mag. These BBs come out. You're Blue Mag BBs.
Awesome. Well, listen, Tina, it's been really great to meet you. Hopefully we can do it again soon.
Definitely, it was great having me. Thanks for having me out here. It's been great talking to you. It's kind of a natural, nice, natural little flow to it.
Good. I'm glad. I mean, yeah. I don't. This is not professional. We're just bullshitting about our
I mean,
experiences.
my background looks fantastic.
It looks awesome. I love it.
We're still in the middle of remodeling. We're still like in the
Hey,
process of getting doors for stuff.
I understand. It's cool. All right. Until next time. We'll see you.
Yep.